Hi, my name is David Valentine, and I want to welcome you to Torah Puzzle. This channel is dedicated to revealing the Torah scroll as a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner that has a motherboard encoded inside it. The video today is entitled God Has Technology. This video will be dedicated to looking at the possible technologies God would share with humanity as God is being God unto us. Definitely like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Share it with world leaders, state leaders, local officials. Get this message out. There's 7 sections to the video today. We're going to look at a quick Torah motherboard review. We'll look at God having technology. We'll look into the 10 commandments, focusing on the second commandment. We'll look at the sun god, the sun ray. We'll look into what's going on in North Korea. They're bowing to statues out there. Then we'll look at a conclusion with marking my words on what God promises God is going to do to the creation if we don't follow those laws. So I want to say this video might be a little lengthy, maybe about 2 hours. We'll see how it goes. But I don't want to rush it, but I definitely want to get this information out. I want to get you guys excited, inspired, motivated, and definitely empowered to follow the laws of God so that God will set up the tabernacle, get that smell, and be God unto us. God has technology. So here we've got the 7 sections. Number 1, Torah motherboard review. Number 2, God has technology. Number 3, the second commandment. Number 4, the sun god. Number 5, the sun ray. Number 6, what about North Korea? And number 7, mark my words. So number 1, Torah motherboard review. This is just going to be a quick little review on the Torah scroll becoming a jigsaw puzzle that's a banner that's got a motherboard encoded inside it. And I'll be a little bit more technical with the details on the motherboard this go around. So I have a note at the bottom, watch my video, Torah puzzle motherboard, for in-depth explanation. So I won't go into as in depth as I do in that video, but this is definitely for those that may have not watched that video or be aware of it. But even for those who have watched the previous videos, that this helps set up uh, the basis, the foundation for God having technology. So here, I have the note down here at the bottom. What we're looking at right here is the Torah scroll rolled out, and we're just seeing the blocks of text in the Torah scroll. Now, my note down here at the bottom, the columns of text within the Torah scroll were designed, understand that, were designed to be removed and then externally aligned. We are to use the repetition of words and phrases between the columns of text as alignment indicators. So there's a lot happening there. So we're going to show in this animation the text coming out and being aligned. Okay, so there it is. Now we see coming across, there's these linkages between these different colors. Now what that is that's representing the repetition of words and phrases between the columns of text as alignment indicators. So like up there in the red, let's just say that's the phrase, what have you done? Then a couple columns down the level, that phrase, what have you done, is mentioned again. Or in the green, the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were opened. Then next to it, the fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were closed. You know what I'm saying? Like that's linking those particular phrases together. So we have to make specific cuts for the text in order to align those repetitions of phrases, and it's going to create a very unusual shape at the bottom for each puzzle piece. And then the level underneath is going to line into itself, then perfectly stack underneath it. So that's what's happening here. The columns of text within the Torah scroll, this is key, were designed. So what's happening here is part of a design. They were designed to be removed and then externally aligned. We are to use the repetition of words and phrases between the columns of text as alignment indicators. So that's what I'm showing up here. Okay, that's what I'm showing. So now this is for level one. I'm showing there's 19 puzzle pieces that align to create level one. So right here, I'm showing puzzle piece one is Genesis 1:1 to Genesis 1:19. That's the Bible verses that create the puzzle piece up here for puzzle piece one. It's got the number one in that puzzle piece. It's made up of Genesis 1:1 through 1:19. And we see it's a sequential order moving from left across to right as we're making our way down. It's sequential because we'll go from Genesis 1:1 to 1:19 for puzzle piece one. Then we pick up for puzzle piece two is Genesis 1:20 to Genesis 1:31. See that? So that's the Bible verses that create the second puzzle piece. So that's how the levels are created. I'll show over here for column 18 and 19, which is if we look down there, Genesis 17:1 for puzzle piece 18 and Genesis 17:15 for puzzle piece 19. Let's zoom in and look at that so you can see what I'm talking about. So there's column 18 and 19 that I show over here, the repetition of the phrase. Genesis 17:3, the phrase Abram fell on his face, that links across to Genesis 17:17 when Abraham fell on his face. So wait, it's Abram over here, but then Abraham over there. It's the same guy. His name has changed, but he's falling on his face. That's aligning these puzzle pieces. Then underneath it, we see in Genesis 17:7 the phrase an everlasting covenant. Covenant ain't ending. But that's linking across into puzzle piece 19, which is Genesis 17, verse 19, an everlasting covenant. It's repeating. So there's distinct phrases that are being repeated between these puzzle pieces, which is aligning. It's aligning them. That's how the jigsaw puzzle is created. So here's level two, what level two looks like in the Bible verses. Level three, level four, level five, level six, which is all of Leviticus, and level seven, which is all of the book of Numbers. So here I'm going to show, this is how the levels stack together. Okay, so that's what the jigsaw puzzle looks like. So there are different colors for the different levels. So now here we could see, okay, there's at the bottom, red is Genesis. So we see the three levels. That's all the book of Genesis. Okay, then there's a little sliver in the top of puzzle piece 58. That we see down there in orange, that's the book of Exodus. So these two levels here, starting from puzzle piece 58, then 77, that's all the book of Exodus. Then in yellow, that level is the book of Leviticus. Then down in green, that's the book of Numbers. So looking at the jigsaw puzzle, how it assembles, you can see the contents of what creates the jigsaw puzzle, where those quote unquote books are located, but it was just one original scroll. Later, it was split up, supposedly in the 13th century when they gave it the book names and the chapters and verses. So, but this is where those books lie in the jigsaw puzzle. So the jigsaw puzzle is 19 columns wide by 7 levels deep. I show a note at the bottom. There are exactly 129 individual puzzle pieces to create the jigsaw puzzle, and the numbers are all in there. Okay. Now, the Torah scroll is a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner. That's the shape. You can see that's the shape of it. Look up here, then switch across. Do it a couple times. That's the shape of it. It's a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner. Now what we're looking at is the motherboard. So I have a note, watch my video, Torah Puzzle Motherboard, for in-depth explanation. Because what happens is, when the jigsaw puzzle is assembled, we'll be looking down at a block of words, huge block of words that create the jigsaw puzzle banner. But when we analyze the architectural arrangement of the sentences, we're going to start to see the syntactic systems that are describing components that are disguised within the text. We're going to start to see, we'll see that there's patterns within the text that link together to create systems and networks. What I'm showing is it's a motherboard that's encoded within that text. So I want to start showing you some of the components, how things even link together, a little bit more in depth than what I did in this video, Torah puzzle motherboard, that explanation. So at the top, what we see, there's a power supply that's located, the very first block, that's Genesis 1, the 4 days of creation. There was 3 rechargeable batteries on the board. Battery 1 is the 10 generations from Adam to Noah. Battery number 2 is the 9 generations from Shem to Terach. And then the third rechargeable battery is the summary of the journey. And I'll show you in a little bit here how that actually all links together. So we have 3 rechargeable batteries on the board. That'd be the question. It's like, wait a second. Dave's saying that there's rechargeable batteries on the board. Where do they get their power? It's from that power supply. Or if I say, hey, there's a power supply on the board, it's like, what is it powering? Well, it's going to charge these batteries. What are the batteries powering? So we'll look at that. This is in Leviticus. When we're looking down at the block of text in Leviticus, there's something interesting happening with the way that the paragraphs are repeating a structure within it. That's the central processing unit. It's in Leviticus. Now watch, attached to the base is a data relay network. So the central processing unit, I'm going to show you how it's getting its data. That there's a repetition of the first commandment that's going to be repeated as you're making your way through from the basically the central processing unit, a little bit to the middle left side of the board, across to the right hand side. The first commandment is going to be repeated many times, then up to the 10 commandments, which is over there at the top right hand side of the board. So that's a data relay network that we're going to daisy chain those red rectangles. That's where we're going to find the repetition of the first commandment. Okay, then over here, I'm showing ROM data chip. Exodus, at that location is Exodus 20, verses 2 through 14. That's the location of the 10 commandments. So here's a note. This is showing the tie. 8 of the 10 commandments are being reprocessed within the central processing unit. When we look at that block of text right there, they got that red dot over, and in the jigsaw puzzle, you're going to see for some reason 8 of the 10 commandments being repeated in there. They're slightly altered. The CPU fetch, decode, execute. It's in the decode phase as it's taken the data from the ROM chip, which is the 10 commandments, and brought it across into the CPU. So here I'm showing data relay network, come back around. Okay, so all the way over there on the right-hand side, you're going to see this, the arrow comes up. So that the data is going up into the data header, the first commandment. Then now it goes down to the repetition, and it moves across, down, up, across here, then into the base of the central processing unit. And that's how it feeds the data into the central processing unit. So it's the repetition of the first commandment, making the tie through this daisy chain network into the CPU. So, okay, now I'm showing RAM, which is random access memory, data chip located here. Now that's Exodus 34, verses 11 through 26. And I show jumbled repeat of laws. So if you go to Exodus 34, verses 11 through 26 and read it, God's going to give some laws, a repeat of laws to Moses, but they're in different order from when God gave him prior within the text. So why is that happening? Because that's very indicative of a random access memory chip to store data in random order or random arrays. Okay, so there's a RAM chip on the board. Now here I'm showing the tie from the RAM chip into the central processing unit. Now, in Leviticus 19, verse 4, you're going to find the phrase, "You shall not make for yourselves molten gods." That's in the CPU. That's in the fourth data register in the sixth power relay module. Now, I'll cross over here. In Exodus 34, verse 17, you're going to find that phrase again. "You shall not make for yourselves molten gods." That's showing the central processing unit is saving off to RAM or pulling from RAM, okay? That there's a tie between these two locations. So that's the tie from the central processing unit into the RAM chip. Okay, so I have a note at the bottom, which is important. Power begins here at the beginning of the jigsaw puzzle, and power terminates at the end of the jigsaw puzzle. All components necessary for system operations are present within this data set. No need for any other data than Genesis through Numbers, and I showed you that. This is a very basic data processor. You've got a power supply, backup batteries, you've got a central processing unit, you got a ROM chip and a RAM chip. That's basically all you need. I showed you a data relay network on top of it. So all components necessary for system operations are present within this data set. We don't need Deuteronomy. We don't need anything else. This is its own exclusively inclusive uh, docket of information that was sent down through time. When it comes to this motherboard, we don't need anything else. What is the motherboard doing? It's processing the 10 commandments and saving them to RAM. That's what it's doing. You don't take this motherboard and plug it into a spaceship like, geez, I wonder what it does. No, this is what it does. It's showing you the 10 commandments being reprocessed. So I'm going to show you the power distribution network to move the power from the beginning and then terminate at the end. So that's also important. That power is beginning at the beginning of the jigsaw puzzle and power is ending at the end. We're basically two puzzle pieces away from the end where the third rechargeable battery is. It's in the 127th puzzle piece. But the power is not moving out. The power has a destination. It's not getting moved into the book of Deuteronomy or anything like that. Power begins and it ends. So here I'm going to show you. Power is going to leave the power supply. It's going to move to this component. The 4 days of creation, 1, 2, 3, 4, link to the 4 rivers in Eden, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we see the 4 LEDs. It goes from the power supply to the 4 rivers of Eden. Then it's going to go 2, 3. Second and third river of Eden is going to link to the second and third decks of the ark. That's where it is when Noah built the ark. It's going to move down to when God talks about making a covenant with Noah. Then that's the tie to when God makes the covenant with Noah. That's the link right there. Then it'll move to when God makes the covenant with Abraham concerning circumcision. The component next to it is basically a repeat of that block. We'll backfeed to when God tells Abraham he'll inherit the land. We'll move to when God tells Jacob he'll inherit the land. We'll move to when God tells Isaac he'll inherit the land. Then down here is when God tells Jacob again he'll inherit the land. He's in Peniel when that's the story in when you're looking down at the jigsaw puzzle. That's that power relay. And God won't say anything about anyone inheriting the land until Moses is on the mountain, which is directly below it. Now, what's happening here is the power distribution line up until this point was dedicated to linking the covenants together, essentially. Now it's going to move into just linking the modules. So in that story, the Hebrew name is mentioned 4 times within that block of data. So now we're going to be linking that similar component. So when that's mentioned again, it's straight down in the book of Leviticus when God's telling the Israelites not to follow the traditions of the Canaanites. Again, now this is linking straight across to God's name is mentioned 4 times again here within this small block of text. This is the priestly blessing mentioned in the book of Numbers. Then God's name will be mentioned 4 times, straight up here in the book of Exodus and then across. So we've linked those, we're just linking those components together. Now there's a small power relay movement here of talking when the water was a wall for them on the left and the right twice. Where we're going to jump in the book of Exodus. Then we'll move down when God is to be glorified through Pharaoh's chariots across, and then we'll link down to the battery when the children of Israel left with boldness. That's the link from the top in Exodus down into the book of Numbers when they left with boldness or with upraised arm. That's the linkages that we're creating. So that is the power supply from the beginning, and how it routes itself to the end is two different power distribution networks. One's covenant driven and the other one's module driven, basically. So power is on a definite course or destination, beginning at the beginning of the jigsaw puzzle and ending at the end of the jigsaw puzzle. So that's it. So we don't need any other circuit boards or anything else. All components necessary for system operations are present within the board, and power is generated at the beginning and ending. This is it. This is all the data we were supposed to have. Understand that. This is highly exciting to see that we have all components necessary for system operations, and power is beginning at the beginning and ending at the end. Okay, so now let's talk about how the top batteries get charged, because that's what's happening. The chemical reactor, a fuel source is going in there, and it's creating an electromotive force that's driving down to a rechargeable battery at the bottom. The fuel source is going to be spent, and the battery is going to be charged. The battery is going to bleed out and run the central processing unit. That's the point of it. So here at the top, the power is going to leave the power supply. It's going to go to that component. It's going to take that same course that I described, linking the covenants together, but then it's going to move up. When God makes the covenant with Noah, the data block on top of it is when God tells Noah to be fruitful and multiply, and all moving thing is food. That links backwards to when God said the same exact wording to Adam when God told Adam to be fruitful and multiply, and that all herbage is food. So that's the connection between those two stories. Then it'll move up across to when God said he created them in the image of God, male and female. He says that before God tells that to Adam, all herbage is food, but God will say that phrase in at the beginning of the 10 generation genealogy block from Adam to Noah. So that's the linkage into the battery, that phrase. So then we'll link that battery together between father and son linkages. Then it ends with a triplicate. The end of the 10 generations from Adam to Noah ends with Noah giving birth to Shem, Ham, Japheth. There's a triplicate. So that'll be mentioned again later there in the book of Genesis. And there'll be double fathers mentioned within that block. That's going to link across to double fathers being mentioned again when Shem, Ham, and Japheth are mentioned. So we're going to link backwards here into the 9 generations from Shem to Terach. And Terach ends with a triplicate. He gives birth to Abram, Nahor, and Haran. As confusing as that might sound, but look at the batteries. Both batteries end with triplicates. That's something about the design. So here, if you look at battery 1, I have those interesting little crystals. They're crystal. It's like a clear, then a black, then a red. That's the triplicate. At the end of the battery, it's a triplicate. Shem, Ham, Japheth. Then at the end of battery number 2, it ends with a triplicate. Abram, Nahor, Haran. But if you look at battery number 3, there's a triplicate also. It ends with in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, which is interesting. So every battery has a particular design to it where they're ending with triplicates. So now you know that. So that's how that battery is linked together. So I thought I'd show you those linkages. And in the book I wrote, Torah Puzzle Motherboard, I go into great depth with pictures to show you that. All right. So down here. So okay. All right. So the atheist, so when we're putting this jigsaw puzzle together and we're looking at it, I can show you all of the linkages. I can't show you them here. I can't show you it through this video because I'm bound by copyright laws through ArtScroll. So the pictures that I showed earlier with Abram falling on his face and an everlasting covenant for level one, that was taken from the World English Bible that I could post online, but it's not exactly identical to how ArtScroll has it, to where ArtScroll's interpretation lines up perfectly. So I can't show you every linkage here that was created through ArtScroll. But when we do sit down and go through it line by line, connection by connection, very logical the way that it all assembles. My note down here is the atheists will admit they're logical. They will admit the Torah scroll is a jigsaw puzzle, but that does not make it divine. We now know what some people were doing in caves thousands of years ago. When the atheist sees the motherboard encoded inside the puzzle, they will be forced to admit the Torah scroll is divine, written by a supreme being possessing superintelligence. That's the point, the next level of it all. So I could definitely take you through and show you it being a jigsaw puzzle. It's undeniable. I'll bet the farm on it. It's undeniable. Okay, but that don't make it divine. Now that we know that whoever wrote this, they created this grid and these puzzle pieces, and they started writing the same phrases to link things together. Then they just wrote stories around it, disassembled it, and just put it in a scroll and sent it down through time for someone to decode. Right? That doesn't make it divine because we can now make our own. It's like, wait a second, hold on. Encoded inside the jigsaw puzzle is a motherboard that shows it's divine, that it's ahead of its time, that God wrote it. That this is God is vastly superior, undeniably genius, and forever ahead of us in terms of intelligence. Like this scroll is divine because of the motherboard. We can't uh, like just root it out of the equation. The motherboard is highly important, and the atheist. Once the atheist sees this and understands it, I'm hoping that'll open the mind of the atheist. Say, wait a second, this is what we expected from the master of the universe to write a document that had science and technology encoded inside it. So the Torah scroll is divine, written by a supreme being possessing superintelligence. So with that being said, think about it. So this is a message from God. What's the message? The message is I have technology. I had the ability thousands of years ago to record and digitally save all of your activities. So think about that. Like, wait a second. Because in your mind, you're probably thinking, wait, no, this can't happen because this is just something that was written by man and to control people and uh, how to buy and sell slaves and who to kill and why. And it wasn't written by man because they didn't have this stuff back then. No, it shows that God had the ability thousands of years ago of technology to literally be recording us in what we're doing. So you could look at that on the positive or the negative. It's like, wait a second, we're not following the laws of God. We could be getting in serious trouble. God could be literally recording us, and later going to sit down and show all the things that we were doing when we thought we were getting away with breaking the law. So God had the ability thousands of years ago to record and digitally save all of our activities. So think about that. Because remember, that's why I'm telling you, there's a RAM memory data chip on the board. That's where your data is saved digitally. So you might sit there and think, well, I don't understand, Dave. I still don't understand. You're saying a RAM chip. You're talking about like an animal with horns? Like, what is a RAM chip? It's random access memory. That's where your data is stored, is in a RAM chip. So I'll explain this a little bit deeper here. I'll explain what I'm talking about. When there's a RAM chip on the board, God has the ability to be saving our stuff digitally. So, okay, so look at this. I have a note down here. Let's read the note before we worry about looking at these pictures. So this is a possible scenario. Angels are filming us, all right? They're using cloaking technology to hide themselves. They're inside, we say this, power spheres. The footage is being saved digitally. Now that's to RAM. Okay. And I have a note God visits the sins to the third and fourth generation, which we'll talk about later. That somehow God is keeping track all the way down from what your great grandfather did, all the way down to you. So somehow this data is being uh, saved in some way, shape, or form. So now I'm showing this angel here in this power sphere. So we see you got a note, an arrow pointing to the angel. He's in his power sphere and he's got a video camera. Now, what is he doing? Over here, we've got these two people, male and female. Maybe the man's married, maybe the woman's married, maybe they're both married. But we got Exodus 20, verse 14. Do not commit adultery. Now he's sitting there filming. Looks like they're going to kiss, but it's going to go, well, let's just say all the way. He's filming it, or this angel's filming it. It's going to be stored digitally, and it's going to be taken to wherever they're gathering this data. Let's call it Command Central. I don't know where, and it's going to be discussed. You know, they're going to talk about it. So that's going to be logged. So if you're thinking about committing adultery, don't do it. You're more than likely, I would say likely, you're being recorded, and you don't want this footage being brought back. And if you are in some sort of relationship like that, I would say end it immediately. You don't want this data being pulled back on you. So look at this. Exodus 20, verse 13, do not murder. That bar fight that somehow, or that brawl that somehow got out of hand, that turned into a homicide, that you thought you got away with it. No, they were filming. If there's something going on with your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, and you're thinking about doing something, don't do it. Please don't do it. You're being filmed. Do everything in your power to try and de-escalate the situation. You don't want this footage to be brought back. Don't do it. Do your best to resolve the situation. Walk away. Walk away. Love your fellow, love the stranger. Quit your job, move, whatever it takes. You're not getting away with anything. You're not getting away with anything. Look at this down here. Exodus 16, verse 29. Let no one go out of his place on the seventh day. Now, this man over here, he's got his bag, his keys, it's the Sabbath. He's leaving his place. We were told not to leave our place on the Sabbath. He's being videotaped. No, they got him. Busted. He broke that law. He's desecrating the Sabbath. Okay, so what? So all this is happening. God's keeping track of stuff. Okay, so now what? Look at this. Imagine that this is gonna happen. We've got ourselves an angel here sitting down with that man, showing on his interesting little desktop gizmo here him walking out of his house, right? And he's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah." So here's a note, or a statement that the angel makes. You are in violation of breaking the fourth commandment. You left your place on the Sabbath. Left your place on the Sabbath. So what does he say? He says, it was unintentional. I was day drinking all day. I thought it was Tuesday. And more than likely, that's the case. More likely, he was day drinking all day. He got his days confused. And, you know, they could, scrub his timeline to be like, no, he definitely was not. He totally thought it was the wrong day. So the angel will say, you are required to bring up an unintentional sin offering. Please be aware that your actions determine if God gets the smell. God will leave the planet and not get the smell if these actions persist. You will be terminated. Breaking the Sabbath is death penalty. We can't break the Sabbath. So imagine this becomes the new normal when the angels are revealed and all this data comes pouring out on why the angels are watching us. Why they have their crafts zooming around what they're doing. They're collecting this data on if or if not, we are following the laws. Okay, and there you go. So once this gets out, say, wait a second, you're not going to be leaving your place on the Sabbath. You're not going to be doing things because you're realizing that we're being watched, we're being videotaped. The Torah scroll is a message that God has technology. There's a RAM chip on that board. Obviously, camcorders and cameras come before motherboards. So God obviously has cameras. So be careful. So here we go. We got Bilam and we got the angel. So remember in the book of Numbers, Balak requested for Bilam to come see him. So in Numbers 22, verses 23 through 30, an angel was standing in front of Bilam with a sword in his hand. So here I go showing that we got that angel with the sword in his hand. Bilam was restricted from seeing the angel, but the donkey was able to see the angel. Remember that? Somehow, some way, Bilam couldn't see it, see the angel. Now, there is some sort of power that can restrict humans from seeing angels standing right in front of them. It's right there in the Torah. Thinking like, okay, how did that happen? Was that just magic? Like they have some sort of cloaking technology. Something's going on. So imagine they are standing in front of you with video cameras in their hands filming you. Now, this angel over here, he's got a sword in his hand. Imagine it's like, no, they got video cameras. I don't know what technology it could be, if it's drones or things you can't see, or I don't know what it is. But imagine that this is happening, that they're all around us, filming us, breaking the laws, and it's going to be used against us. So with that being said, I got a little bit of advice. My advice is give them the ultimate performance that will make God happy. Follow the laws. Because remember, God visits the sins to the third and fourth generation. So every little thing that we're doing, I want to say, is being kept track of somehow, some way. I don't know. Because God visits those sins to the third and fourth generation. How does, like if right now I blaspheme God's name, boom, I'm in trouble for that. Somehow I'm going to get pinged for that. So knowing that this is happening, start giving the ultimate performance that will make God happy, that'll bring God into the creation. Chapter number 2, God has technology. In this chapter, I want to discuss some of the possible technologies God could share with us as God is being God into us. So here I show a picture of the motherboard with a note at the bottom. The motherboard is a message that God has technology. In the previous chapter, we looked at the negative of God having technology. It's like, wait, we could be unbelievably policed with that technology. Everything we're doing, we're being micromanaged. Right? What about the positives? Like, God has all technology. So let's explore what some of those technologies could be. So here, look at this image up here. What is that? How about a quantum power drive? Some sort of device, some sort of power device of unlimited power. I'm just calling it quantum power drive. Now we could plug these into the electrical grid. No more electric bill. Remember, God's presence amongst us, and God's being God into us. Now imagine the angels have these devices that they plug into the electrical grid, and now we don't get electric bill in the mail anymore. So here I'm showing a picture down here. You've got the this device getting plugged into the power plant, and we see the power lines running to the houses. A new technology's been unveiled, and we've got no more electric bill. That'd be amazing. But why stop there? What about this? Take a look at this thing. What's that? Anti-gravity device. Imagine we get a hold of an anti-gravity device, all the things we could do with that. About this thing down here. Force field technology. What if we get a hold of force field technology? So we would take the quantum power drive, hook it up to the anti-gravity device and that force field technology, and we could literally build like the spaceships from the movies we watched as we were kids, and we could literally be transformed into that era of sci-fi-ness. Now, sci-fi has become reality. We could build the Millennium Falcon or these TIE fighters and actually go pilot them, or we could have our own versions and variations. But we need this next level boost of technology to make that stuff happen. I want to tell you, your homework should be watching Star Wars A New Hope. Like, watch that movie and think in your brain, like, wait a second, what Dave's saying is what I'm seeing here on the movies could actually happen, but it's right here at the bottom. Follow the laws of God to experience this technology. Bring God into the creation, because what we're talking about here, for all you know, is a million years. I don't 2 billion. I don't know what uh, the time frame for us as humans to reach this sort of technological leaps into the future. But God has technology. That note down there, God has technology. There's the motherboard. God has all of technology. So follow these laws. Get excited. Say, wait a second, I want a quantum power drive. I want anti-gravity device, force field technology. I literally want to build the Millennium Falcon and go pilot that thing. Like, think Star Wars, or think Star Trek, or the new Dune movies. Like, go, like, watch those movies and say, wait a second, we could be living in that, but we got to follow these laws to experience that technology. So I want to talk about another technology that I think has been wildly overlooked, and that I have a note up here is the light from creation. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. Okay, now I'm going to start showing little film strips of each day of creation. There's 6 days of creation. So first off, in the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." Okay. God never said that God created the planet or the water. So essentially, as I'm interpreting this, that the earth is like a comet with ice on it. So on the first day, God said, "Let there be light." So boom, I'm just showing light and I'm showing the ice down there. And what's going to happen is that light is going to melt the ice. On the second day, uh, the waters will be divided. God divides the waters, okay, and calls the expanse in the middle of heaven, right? So I'm showing now the ice is melted and the waters have been divided for the second day. Now look, on the third day, what does it say? The ground rises and the plants grow to full maturity with the seed inside the fruit on the third day. You go read that in the Torah. Read it. That it grows with the seed inside the fruit in one day. Okay. Okay. All right. So what happens next? On the fourth day, the sun, moon, and stars are created. Okay, wait. So the sun's created on the fourth day. Okay. Fifth day, the fish and the birds are created. See the fish and the birds. Then on the sixth day, the animals, insects, and humans are created. All right. So I have a question down here at the bottom. Here. How does the vegetation grow that fast? The vegetation grows astonishingly fast on the third day. Is the vegetation responding to a supernatural light of an advanced frequency not yet known to humans? Okay. Because God said, "Let there be light" on the first day. Then the second day, God divides the waters. Then on the third day, the plants grow, boom, super quick, bam, with the seed inside the fruit already. In one day, they grow to full maturity. I was saying 24 hours, but I mean the ground had to rise. How long did all that take? Well, we see that those plants grow to full maturity in one day's time. Then, because we know photosynthesis here, bam, I show also the sun is created on the fourth day. Humans know vegetation needs light for vegetation to grow. Therefore, God has a light technology that can instantly grow vegetation. God also made the seeds that are planted in the ground. So there's another question. How many varieties of seeds are in God's inventory? Here's an answer. All seed varieties. Don't limit God's power. And so, all right. So what could we do with that? Wait a second. Imagine we get a hold of the light from creation, some sort of light technology that could grow plants like that. You know what I'm saying? Super quick. That there's other seed varieties that we've yet to experience. So look at this, right? Take a look at this thing here. I've got a revolutionary hydroponic garden. Imagine this is another technology that we could get our hands on. Is to start building these things. And all we're really needing is the light from creation. And we're going to look at these seed varieties. So I'm showing this hydroponic garden with the light from the first day of creation in it. And for all you know, it could be no bigger than your remote control for your TV or your cell phone. It's got an advanced light frequency that we don't know of. That's a light frequency powerful enough to grow the plants to maturity in 1 day. So think about that. Did you ever think about that? So let's talk about new seed varieties. We got some interesting plants, vegetables, herbs growing within this hydroponic garden. So let's talk about. Look at number one. Fix the genome. Imagine there's a fruit that you could eat right now that would, if you're blind, it gives you sight. If you're deaf, it gives you hearing. It's going to go through and fix your genome. If you've lost your sense of taste or smell, boom, it's come back. Degenerative disc disorder, it's healed. You've got digestive problems, you're missing a limb, everything's being fixed. You know, you have peripheral artery disease, the tingling of your fingertips and your toes, gone. Everything's been healed. This fruit has gone through your genome and fixed whatever problems you have in it. I believe God can do it. Number two, reverse aging. Imagine there's a fruit that if you wanted to, could take you back a year or two or three, right? It'd take you back to if you're in your 80s, I want to go back to being in my 20s. You have this fruit that you can eat that's going to reverse your aging. I believe God can do it. And the thing about the fruit from that was pulled from the garden is that if they ate it once, they'd live forever. Now we're under the covenant that if we break these laws, God's going to make us eat our children, stack our corpses. God will kill us. So with this particular fruit, if it just would take us back a year, like say, I want a certain fruit that will always keep me at 20 years old, or 23, 26, whatever, that in your genome, it'll spin it back and hold it at a particular marker. It could just keep spinning it back because all we are is code, you know? So like I'm gonna eat this fruit on my birthday every year. Pick a day. Just every year. Boom. Or I could eat it every day. It'll just keep me at 20 years old. Right? So that I believe God could do it. So what about that sort of fruit? Look at number three. Powerful aphrodisiac. Some people might say we don't need no powerful aphrodisiac. Some people might. Some people say I'll do it just for the sake of it between husband and wives to really increase that time that they're together. And there could be different levels of that aphrodisiac. Saying that that'd be something interesting to start pairing in with the reverse aging fruit. It's like, wait a second, we're gonna live forever. What I'm talking about here is, wait, we're gonna live forever. It's like now we're gonna live forever, and we've got this super powerful aphrodisiac that we could keep doing. That's safe. It's not going to kill us. It's not addictive, but it's the most amazing times between husbands and wives. Okay. So, all right. What about number four? Mood and mental enhancers. So what sort of mood enhancers are we talking about? Like, that would, uh, say goodbye to street drugs. When it comes to some of the street drugs that people are doing, you guys are just scratching the surface of something that God has that's like a taproot that's just going to go through your brain and excite pleasure zones that you've never experienced before. It's more clean and powerful than any cocaine or heroin or any opiate that you'd ever come across. It's safe, it's not addicting, and it's not going to kill you, and it grows for free coming out of this cabinet. That's the thing about it. You've got the light from creation that you pull a pod or a bud off, and you can sit there and watch it grow back like within minutes. You take that pod or that bud and crush it up, and there'd be some sort of whatever that plant is, some sort of orange crystals or green powder that you could snort. It's like, whoa, it's the most amazing high I've ever come across. And it's like, wow. And then you could go right back to the cabinet and do it again and do it again. It's not going to kill you. It's safe, not addictive, and it's growing for free coming out of that cabinet, but you gotta follow the laws in order for us to get to this stage. You understand? So say goodbye to street drugs, people um, putting their life on the line, chasing their next high. That's all going to be gone, you know? And that's the thing about it. You've got the reverse aging fruit. Now you've got this mood enhancer, all these different moods to, trigger all the different, you know, uh, pleasure receptors in your brain, all the trillion different receptors and all the trillion different types of ways that uh, your brain can process these fruits or these mood enhancers. So I show mental enhancer also for number 4, and that could be, making you more creative on your musical instrument or with poetry, or open your mind. You could communicate telepathically with your friends and family, or telepathically levitate objects. Something that would put you in the zone where you definitely want to listen to people instead of constantly want to overtalk them, or like make you limitless, where you're just super smart with things, super quick. That there's mental enhancers where you could, meditate and just be calm and zen. All the different levels of mental enhancers to really expand your brain to where you're more cerebral than just being having your moods being altered through the different fruits for the mood enhancers. Then number 5, I've got new fruits and vegetables. Just imagine that we're basically at the the lowest level when it comes to the seeds and the fruits that God's given us. That there's more, you know, fruits and vegetables and herbs that we can't even yet imagine that God has in store for us. That uh, taste we've yet to experience. So these are all really interesting things that we could see coming if we would just follow the laws of God to experience this technology. Bring God into the creation. I want you to really think about this right here. Most people will say, hey, I could really care less about the quantum power drive, the anti-gravity device, and that force field technology. I actually just want to fix my genome, reverse my aging, and I want that powerful aphrodisiac. Like, this will really solve the majority of all of man's problems, is this cabinet right here with that light from creation and these fruits and vegetables. And that's me thinking with my particular brain. For you, think about some of the amazing things God could give us that I've yet to mention. It's like there's probably things beyond our wildest dreams God could do. Bring back the dead, set up warp gates like Einstein-Rosen bridges on the planet, that we could go from the United States to China, boom, in a heartbeat, going through these warp gates, or to Israel. We got to bring up a sin offering. That there's all these different uh, technologies that we've yet to even know about, that God could slowly start rolling out to us as God is being God unto us. So here, new technologies that will catapult humanity millions of years into the future. We're not there yet. We need these new technologies to get us to this point. We've got flying cars, got a whole new world, a whole new next level jump up. And we're going to need some high level technologies to get us there. It's like thinking, like if you could take this back to the 1800s, when they're sitting in the saloon with no air conditioning, they have an outhouse, outside where they're going to the bathroom. They didn't have, obviously had no refrigeration, no, uh, they have ice cream. I mean, what do they really have? They thought that was the best. Little did they know, in a little over 100 years' time, boom, we're going to have these coffee shops where they're listening to music on their Wi-Fi headphones as they're sitting there typing on a laptop. They had no clue back in the 1800s that there's going to be indoor plumbing or any of these sort of technologies in the future. They could not imagine it. They couldn't even imagine it. So that's what I'm saying. Follow the laws of God so that God will set up that tabernacle, rest God's presence amongst us, and be God unto us. This is what I'm talking. I'm talking a huge boost in technology beyond our wildest dreams. I want to say we're quote unquote being good, but we're following those laws. And we can see God has technology. The Torah scroll is a jigsaw puzzle that creates a motherboard or that creates a banner, but there's a motherboard encoded inside it. God has technology. So there we go. Don't forget this. This is important. What is God telling us? God has technology. Follow the laws of God to experience life 2.0. Here we are for chapter number 3, the second commandment. So now what I'm showing here is the jigsaw puzzle with these sort of zoids going around it. And the note at the bottom says this: the jigsaw banner is comprised from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. The information being presented is only what is contained within the banner. The animation above is showing there is a security wall installed around the banner. Do not go beyond the boundary of the banner. That's important. So everything that I'm showing here in this presentation is exclusively coming from just this data set. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the second commandment. We'll be talking about the 10 commandments, but all the information pertaining to it is coming strictly from this. I'm not going to be bringing in Deuteronomy, something that the prophet said, something from some rabbinic book, nothing from the Quran or the New Testament. It's purely from this data set. So don't go beyond this boundary. So with that being said, at this location, precisely at puzzle piece 123, you're going to find this verse in the banner data set. Numbers 23, verse 19. God is not a man that God should lie, nor a son of man that God would change God's mind. Has God said and God won't do it? Or has God spoken and God won't make it good? So God is not changing. God is not a man that God should lie, or the son of a man that God would change God's mind. Nothing's changing here. So when I start going into the second commandment, or talk about the 10 commandments, nothing's changing. There's the verse. Say, oh, what Dave's talking about, that's old. It's changed. God changed. No, here's the verse in this in this contract, this document, this manuscript stating God is not changing. So this Torah scroll laws are still active. Okay, what we're looking at here is the 10 commandments. We have the actual 10 commandments right here, Exodus 21 through 14. Then over here on the right-hand side, we have the revised Catholic 10 commandments. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you how, I don't know what has happened here with what's going on with Catholicism, but they've literally removed the second commandment here in the 10 commandments. So let's actually step this through. So the first commandment, I am Hashem your God. We'll just go simply with that. We see that links across to the revised Catholic 10 commandments. Now, the second commandment, do not make a carved image of any likeness in the heavens above, earth, or water below. No, wait, their second commandment is you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. We see that's actually the third commandment. The third commandment is their second commandment. So in the revised Catholic 10 commandments, they decided to take out the second commandment. Like, are you guys aware of that? Did you know that? That's what's happened here. So how they have 10 commandments? So in the actual 10 commandments, the fourth commandment, work 6 days, rest on the seventh, the Sabbath day, that's their third commandment. So the actual fourth commandment is their third commandment. Honor your father and mother, which is the fifth commandment. That's their fourth commandment. Honor your father and mother. The sixth commandment, you shall not kill, is actually their fifth commandment. You shall not kill. The seventh commandment, you shall not commit adultery. That's their sixth commandment. You shall not commit adultery. The eighth commandment, you shall not steal. That's their seventh commandment. You shall not steal. 9, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. That's 8, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Now, the 10th commandment, they've split. The 10th commandment, you shall not covet your neighbor's house, wife, manservant, maidservant, ox, donkey, or anything. We see split between their ninth commandment and their 10th commandment. See that right here. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife. That is their ninth commandment. And you shall not covet your neighbor's goods. That's their 10th commandment. So I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but that's what they've done. They've literally uh, rewrote the 10 commandments. So heresy, what is heresy? Does anyone know what heresy is? Heresy is a belief or opinion contrary to orthodox religious doctrine. So the Catholic Church is guilty of heresy. Like they've literally removed the second commandment from the 10 commandments and have been running with it. Number one, I am the Lord your God. Number two, you shall not take the name of your Lord God in vain. Everyone knows the second commandment is no idols, no statues, no none of it. Now, they say, no, we don't want that as part of the commandments. Like, are you guys aware of that? I don't know if people are aware of that. So get aware of it. Let's look at some Bible verses. Leviticus 26, verse 1 states this: You shall make for yourselves no idols, and you shall not raise up a carved image or a pillar, and you shall not place any engraved stone in your land to bow down to it, for I am Hashem your God. Okay? No idols. Now, Leviticus 26, verse 27 through 31 is the negative side of the covenant, the promise that God gives to the children of Israel. Leviticus 26, verse 27 through 31 states this: If you, in spite of this, won't listen to me, but walk contrary to me, then I will walk contrary to you in wrath. I will also chastise you 7 times for your sins. You will eat the flesh of your sons and the flesh of your daughters. I will cast your corpses on top of your idols, destroy your high places, and send the remnant off into exile. I will not smell the pleasing aroma. So that's the thing. Idols. We can't have idols. When it comes to this thing happening, that's what God's going to do: make you eat your children and cast your corpses on top of your idols. We can't have them. So this down here is the image I show of that happening. We see a man over here eating the flesh of his sons and daughters. He's eating the flesh. We see statues right here with corpses being cast on top of them. We see high places being destroyed. Boom. We see coming out of these spaceships, corpses being dropped. There's an obelisk over there, engraved stone with corpses being stacked on top of it. It doesn't say in this verse there's going to be an alien invasion. It doesn't say that. Somehow, some way, they're going to be eating their children and having their corpses cast on top of their idols and their high places destroyed. When it came to the angels going into the town of Sodom to pull Lot out, how do you not know those angels are going to come back in full regalia, full force, tens of thousands of them, who knows, and is going to start pulling this maneuver? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Never told to worry about how this was going to happen. We were told 15 times to follow the law. We were told 9 times to be holy, which is set apart, kadosh, set yourself apart. How we set ourselves apart is that we follow the law. So basically, that's 9 times we were told to follow the law. With the 15 times, that's 24 times we were told to follow the law. We were never told to worry about how this was going to happen. Somehow, corpses are going to be cast on idols. So we don't have any idols, so this maneuver can't be pulled. Here they are, eating the flesh of their sons and daughters. They shouldn't be smiling. It's the best that AI would do for me to try and generate some sort of image. You see corpses being cast on top of statues, pillars. It's a nightmare. So when it comes to the Vatican, no, the Vatican is full of statues and idols. I mean, did you know that? Pretty sure people probably knew that. Yeah, I mean, there's statues, idols all over the planet. But for some reason, Catholicism's like, no, we don't want the second commandment. Let's just get rid of it and let's split the 10th commandment and we're just going to go ahead with it. No, I rebuke that. No, that's completely wrong. Here we go. We've got outside the Vatican, The Vatican is covered with statues. You can see up here towards the top that there's nothing but statues on the top, and we even see an ancient obelisk in front of the Vatican. There's statues everywhere. I mean, look at all these statues. We're told not to have them. Vatican's like, no, we're going to have them, and we're going to get rid of the Second Commandment on top of it. Statues all over the planet. Here we are, chapter number 4, the sun god. So what we have here is, I can't say its name. So we look down here. Exodus 23, verse 13. Be cautious regarding everything I have said to you. Do not say other gods' names. Okay, so I can't say this name down here. But this, what we're looking at, is the relief of an ancient Roman sun god. Okay, can't say its name. Don't say it. And we can see its iconography is that it's got these 7 spikes coming off its head. Okay. Here's another image of it, another ancient statue of it. One of the 5th spikes broke off. Here's another image of it, another statue. On this one, the 2nd spike is broken off. He's got his hand up. Here's another image of it. 3rd spikes broke off on this guy's head. Does that look familiar to anything that we know of? Yeah, it does. The Statue of Liberty. This is a weak attempt to disguise and revise the name of that Roman sun god amongst the population. The Statue of Liberty is a copy of a sun god. Did you know that? So no, it's not, Dave. It's just a Statue of Liberty. It's not that thing. It's like, we were told to be cautious regarding everything God has said. That's an old statue. That's an old Roman statue of a sun god that's been repurposed here in America. It's got 7 spikes on top of its head. Why couldn't it have been 6? Why did you have to go with the spikes? No, you're not fooling anyone. Guys aren't fooling anyone. So here we go. We were told no statues. We were told no idols. So here we go. Look at the Statue of Liberty. So here we are, Liberty Island, New York City, USA. Look at the people down at the bottom. Look how tall this statue is. Look how tall that is. Look at all the people. Look how small the people are and how tall that statue is. And if this was with this being a drop zone for people's corpses, just how many people would be piled up at the base of this thing? Tear it down. So I got a map. AI, artificial intelligence, Microsoft Copilot generates a map for the locations of over 300 replicas of the Statue of Liberty worldwide. So here we go. Worldwide. And some of these odd locations I actually researched to see if the actual statue was there, because AI did generate this. So and that's just this one particular statue. So here we got one: Paris, France, Tokyo, Japan, Moscow, Russia. Some people are like, I don't even know. I thought there was just one. No, there's a ton of them. They're all over the place. Look at this. Top, Statue of Liberty replicas in the United States. You see all over here. All over here, all throughout the United States. 1950s, right here, strengthening the arm of liberty. So I got a note at the bottom. AI, Microsoft Copilot, generates a map for the locations of over 200 replicas of the Statue of Liberty in the United States. This is here in the United States. Look at all those locations. Now, the note at the bottom, strengthen the arm of liberty, was a campaign launched by the Boy Scouts that placed over 200 small Statue of Liberty replicas across the United States. Now, thanks a lot. That's from 1949 to 1952. So there's these small little replicas of the Statue of Liberty all throughout the United States. So pick on the Statue of Liberty. It's a sun god. You're told, no, you don't make them, and you surely don't bow down to them. No, they made them. They set them up. What are they going to do? They're there. Why are they doing that? They like it. I don't know. So we could go here to Donald Trump in his triumphal arch. You take a look at what he wants to put on the top over here, and we can zoom in on that. You can see it's the Statue of Liberty. Now it's got wings. It says one nation under God. You gotta be very careful with that even. So yeah, no, you know, for me, I could say, hey, arches are cool. Just let's put something else up there. Let's not make anything that God made in the heavens above, on the earth, or the water below. No birds, no, none of this stuff. It's a human figure. It's a copy of a sun god. Oh, you can't do that. Arches are cool, super cool. Let's just put something else up there. Now there's a note. I have a Bible verse, Leviticus 19, verse 17. Correct your fellow or bear a sin. So you got to send this message out. Tell Donald to say, hey, let's put something else up there. Let's not put that stuff up there. You can't do it. God doesn't like that stuff. No, I rebuke it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So to further this, I mean, beyond the sun gods, when it comes to government, there are statues on top of most Capitol buildings. Take a look. These are Capitol buildings throughout America. And they have this, some sort of statue, some sort of Roman or Greek deity or something unusual or odd that's on top of these Capitol buildings. I say, tear them down. So here are like this tallest statues in the world. Now look at this here. Well, we'll go from left to right. Statue of Unity in India. This thing is massive. 182 meters. It's basically twice the height of the Statue of Liberty. We can move next to it. In China, that thing's 153 meters tall. In Japan, 120 meters. Statue of Liberty is only 93. The Motherland Calls in Russia, that's 85 meters. And then this Redeemer over here in Brazil, that's only 38 meters. So, I mean, these are just height comparisons. There's statues everywhere. You say, Dave's just picking on the Statue of Liberty. No, that's a sun god. We don't set up these sun gods, these idols. So it's just a statue. No, we don't do it. So we're seeing really more than anything, the stage has been set for a global catastrophe. So, man, Dave, these laws are only attached to Israel. They're not. The second commandment was broken outside the land. They were penalized. They made the golden calf outside the land. The third commandment was broken outside the land. The boy blasphemed God's name outside the land. He was penalized. The fourth commandment, remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. You don't work on the Sabbath. The man was caught gathering sticks in the book of Numbers outside the land. He was penalized. So you don't make statues. You think you're outside the land is a safe zone? It's not. We'll talk about God's nature here in a little bit. God visits the sins of the third and fourth generation to everyone. The only way out is to love God and follow God's laws. So these statues here, they could definitely be, if God wants to, they could definitely be used as drop zones. Number 5, the sun ray. Sun ray. What is the sun ray? So what I'm showing here is pictures of obelisks that are located all over the planet. Down over here, they're actually ancient Egyptian obelisks. I'm showing here in Paris, London, in front of the Vatican, New York, Turkey. These are all pulled out of Egypt and placed at these locations. So obelisk, let's talk about what is an obelisk. It's a stone pillar, typically having a square or rectangular cross section and a pyramidal top, set up as a monument or landmark. So these have been pulled out of Egypt and set here as landmarks, or they decided to pull them out and let's put them over here. The name obelisk is Greek for spit, as in a long pointed piece of wood used for cooking. Almost like it's the spike that you attach the animal to that is on the rotisserie, that long piece. That's what it is. Now here, understand this. In Egyptian mythology, the obelisk paid tribute to the sun god. Can't say it. Don't say other gods' names. And its shape resembles a petrified ray of the sun. Okay? I'll repeat it. In Egyptian mythology, the obelisk paid tribute to the sun god, and its shape resembles a petrified ray of the sun. Now, when you raise an obelisk, you are honoring, recognizing, and paying tribute to that sun god. So that's what's going on here. You guys aren't aware. So we got Statue of Liberty is the sun god. We got these sun rays that are paying tribute to a sun god, and everything's getting almost like someone's playing a video game, right? They're like, we need to move all this stuff out, so we have all these locations to dump corpses. Okay, so look, all these obelisks here, just pulled out of Egypt, set up all over the planet. Remember, we were told Leviticus 26, verse 1, you shall not make for yourselves no idols, and you shall not raise up a carved image or a pillar. No, no, they didn't. And you shall not place any engraved stone in your land. So, David, be careful. You're not truncating to bow down to. It's like God said, be cautious regarding everything I've said to you. So they're just not bowing down to it. Like all obelisks must be destroyed, grind them to powder, get rid of them. You don't need them. If they're all gone in a day, like, I don't know, I don't care. Yeah, God said don't do it. So let's go back to the Vatican. Rome is home to 8 ancient Egyptian obelisks. We got one right outside, literally right outside the Vatican. But in Rome, they got 8 of them. They actually have 13. So here's a map. I show the 13 locations of the obelisks in Rome. And the one right here in blue, that's outside the Vatican. But the blue spots are ancient Egyptian, and the red spots were made by the Romans. So you could see there's 8 blue spots, and then 5 with red spots. So those are the ones that the Romans made. So that's where you'd find them. So Rome's got a bunch of them, not just one, but they got 13. So the Vatican Museum is full of Egyptian statues and idols. Did you know that? Do you know that? Here in this picture right here, we see this big sphinx. Next to it, we got these women. Um, the image right here, we got these idols, and there's these 2 Egyptian statues at each side flanking the door. Then the image all the way to the right, these Egyptian idols. There's a mummy that they have. Like, why do they have this stuff? To read Leviticus 18, 1 through 3, understand this. This is what we were told. Hashem said to Moses, that's the name of God, like the Hebrew name. It's Hashem means the name. It's like the Jehovah's Witness try and say that name. It's Hashem. That's replacing the Hebrew name. Hashem said to Moses, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, I am Hashem your God. You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you lived. You shall not do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. You shall not follow in their traditions. Don't follow in their traditions. Like the Vatican's like, we're going to surround ourselves with their traditions, their ways, their idols. I don't care about any of this stuff that God says. God said, no statues. We're going to get rid of the Second Commandment. We're going to rewrite the 10 Commandments. We're going to have statues. God says, don't follow in their traditions. Like, we're going to surround ourselves with their traditions. Why would anyone follow Catholicism? Like, are you aware of what is said right here in verse 3? Do not do as they do in the land of Egypt. Do not follow in their traditions. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'd have nothing to do with this place at all. Stay far away from it. So, Sarah, pick on the Vatican, but we could look here. The world does have a lot of statues and idols. We can do our best to clean things up. Are you with me? Now, this is for the pleasing aroma. So just look at all this stuff. I mean, there's Egyptian idols. We've got Buddhist, Hindu, Sumerian over there in the bottom right-hand corner. We got Kachinas. We got a ton of stuff that we need to take care of. Like this stuff, I want to say, is restricting the Creator from resting God's presence amongst us. God, it's the second commandment. It's literally above the third commandment where you don't put anything on God's name. That is a big deal to have statues above God's name, blaspheming God's name. This is huge. This is like nuclear. Like you don't go near it. It's like toxic waste. Like I go nowhere near this stuff when it comes to how God has an issue with it. So we didn't make this stuff, but we can do our best to clean it up. So are you with me? Now, this is for the pleasing aroma. Chapter number 6. What about North Korea? Say, what about North Korea? What about them? Okay, down here, this is Mansudae Grand Monument, Pyongyang, North Korea. Take a look at what's happening here in these photos. Over here, we've got these two statues of their leaders. We got people bowing down to these statues. See that? Again, down here, there's people bowing down to the statues, and on the right hand side of that, even people bowing down to the statues. So on the left hand side, we've got Kim Il Sung. He's the first dictator of North Korea. The next to him is his son, Kim Jong Il, who passed away now. His son, Kim Jong Un, is running it. So here they are, um, breaking the second commandment. So here we are. We'll read Exodus 24 through 6 in its entirety. You shall not make for yourselves an idol, nor any image of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow yourself down to them, nor serve them, for I, Hashem your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers onto the sons to the third and fourth generation, to those who hate me, but will show kindness to thousands that love me and follow my laws. You got to love God and follow the laws to seek kindness. That's the only pathway. It's the only pathway. So again, Leviticus 26, verse 1 states this. I've read this to you before. You shall make for yourselves no idols, and you shall not raise up a carved image or a pillar, and you shall not place any engraved stone in your land to bow down to it, for I am Hashem your God. So no, they're doing the absolute backwards of that. They're doing the backwards of it. So to the third and fourth generation, let's understand something here when it comes to God's nature. I'm going to read to you from the Torah scroll and what it says. Right back at you. We read in Exodus 20, verse 4 and 6, you shall not make for yourselves an idol, nor any image of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow yourself down to them, nor serve them. For I, Hashem your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers onto the sons to the third and fourth generation, to those who hate me, but will show kindness to thousands that love me and follow my laws. Now, again, we're going to see that come back around in Exodus 34, verse 6 and 7. Different Bible verse. I'm going to read it to you. This is when Moses is on the mountain. He asked for God to make God's way known to him. God said, I'm going to pass before you and I'll hold my hand out so you can't see my face, but you'll be able to see my back. So when God passes, this is what God proclaims. This is in Exodus 34, verse 6 and 7. Hashem passed by before him and proclaimed, Hashem, Hashem, a merciful and gracious God, slow to anger and abundant in kindness and truth, keeping kindness for thousands, forgiving iniquity and disobedience and sin, and who will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers onto the sons to the third and fourth generation. So that's twice that's mentioned. God has it mentioned over here on the second commandment. And God also has it mentioned down here when it comes to God's nature. Moses said, make your way known to me. God's like, I visit the sins of the fathers onto the sons to the third and fourth generation. Okay, so here's a note over here to kind of help explain this. God lets the iniquity, the sin of the fathers build up and then visits the iniquity onto the children. God never said God only does this to the children of Israel. God will do this to everyone. God never said, I'm just doing this to the children of Israel. It's literally the game move. It's literally what God's doing. So here in red, God visits the sins to the third and fourth generation. It's not, we were told once, we were told twice. That's what God is doing. So here's another note. You must love God and follow God's laws to seek kindness from God, thus avoiding the sins of the fathers. That's right here. God says, I'm going to visit those sins, but I will show kindness to thousands that love me and follow my laws. Stop and think about it. It's like, wait a second. To the third and fourth generation, that's your great grandfather, your grandfather, your father, now you. So your great grandfather, right? That's four. That's four generations. I don't know what my great grandfather did. Why would I be guilty if my great grandfather left his place on the Sabbath? Why would I be guilty if my great grandfather didn't have the staff in his hand, sandals on his feet, and belt around his waist when he was eating the Pesach meal in haste? He was doing that, but he just didn't have those. He didn't have those items. Like, why am I guilty for it? And God's like, if you love me and follow my laws, I'll show you kindness. Don't worry about it. Why would I worry about it? Okay, so that's the pathway out. So when it comes to God visiting the sins of North Korea, God will do it. They need to love God and follow the laws to avoid their sins, let alone their own sins or the sins of their fathers. That's the pathway out. So here's my note. North Korea must tear down those statues, love God, and follow God's laws to avoid having their sins and the sins of their fathers visited upon them. Okay? So let's say they do that. Let's say they start loving God and following the law. North Koreans will bring up unintentional sin offerings. They are being forced to bow and do not know about God's Torah law. I mean, it's a it's a dictatorship. They're fenced in. Do you think they know about the Torah or they have any ability to follow it? Like it's like they're being forced to do this thing. Imagine if they were to be liberated, or if Kim Jong was to say, "Wait, we're going to give them the Torah scroll. Wait, it's a jigsaw puzzle that's got a motherboard encoded inside it. Wait a second," and he was to, uh, you know, give all the North Koreans Torah scrolls, and they start following it, and they help bring God into the creation. We still got time. Like I don't know what's going on there when it comes to why they're bowing down to these statues, but here's a definite way out for them. They're doing it unintentionally. They don't mean to do it. They're being forced to do it. So Torah scroll is a motherboard. There is to repeat, there is a RAM memory data chip on the motherboard. God has the ability to keep track of everything that humanity is doing digitally. Did you think God was writing down all of your movements with ink onto a parchment scroll? Like up until this point, you're like, no, no, aren't they like up in heaven writing down on scrolls or something? Like, no, no, we were told twice in the Torah scroll that God is keeping track of the sins of the fathers. That note down there, see it? So we see twice. God says, I visit the sins to the third and fourth generation. Wait, how is God doing that? I think the angels are writing down on scrolls, Dave. Like, no, uh, I don't think they're doing that. Like, more than likely, everything's being stored and cataloged digitally and with filters and with hashtags, and they could, they're totally keeping track. They have a complete database of everything that everyone's doing. Some sort of mass, algorithm or computation that's chunking down. And here I am trying to say, whoa, we still have time to get out of this. But we were told in the scroll that God's keeping track of what we're doing. So here's the verses actually. Now that I'm bringing up North Korea, that God visits the sins of the third and fourth generation to everyone. And here are the verses where God's saying, I'm keeping track of what you're doing. The conclusion to this presentation today, number 7, mark my words. So the Torah scroll is a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner. A banner, what's up with that? Why a banner? Here I am raising the banner. This is the actual physical pages taken from the Art Scroll Stone Edition Tanakh Student Size Handbook, the actual physical pages. You can see that there's color you know, blocks in there that's serving as alignment indicators. Can't really see anything in there. It's okay that I could show this picture. But I'm standing there raising the banner of God. I made this topper out of plexiglass. That's the actual size of the banner. God has given David Valentine the banner. I got the banner. Let's begin building the kingdom of God. We're going to build the kingdom of God around this banner. This is the banner we raise. These are the words we praise. It's all right here. Rally around the banner of God. That's the point. We got the banner. Let's rally around it. You can see I'm not stumbling through this. God is clearly working through David. Give David your obedience. David is the king. I have the banner. God gave the banner to the king. Now the king's raising the banner. I'm the king. It's very simple. You know, the Israelis are waiting for the king. So I'm here. I got the banner. It's showtime. It's go time. Let's move with this. I need to make that known now. So the logical progressive ramifications of the Torah puzzle motherboard. Right now, we're just looking at the jigsaw puzzle. Here, let's just deal with just the jigsaw puzzle. The Torah puzzle crimps the data set to only Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. Let's just deal with the puzzle. Wait, we're assembling a puzzle, and it's just that data set, nothing else. It's only that. Deuteronomy is not part of it. All right, let's move into the motherboard. Now the motherboard comes in. The Torah puzzle motherboard reinforces the data set and proves the laws commanded by God are eternal. A highly sophisticated, technologically advanced piece of hardware is created from laws given thousands of years ago. We say, no, this is old. It's the Old Testament. We moved on to the New Testament. No, there's no such thing as, no, we don't even look at that stuff. Like if we even look at the Old Testament, it shows that we don't have that we're betraying the New Testament. We're betraying this new promise, this new covenant. It's like, no, remember, God doesn't lie. God doesn't change God's mind. None of this is changing. And when it comes to the purpose or mission of this scroll, was that it was meant to be assembled into a jigsaw puzzle. It was purposely designed to do this. So there's an appointed message, that this is a jigsaw puzzle. Now we bring in the motherboard, there's an appointed time for this to be done. Appointed message for an appointed time, because now we're in the time of science and technology to understand the motherboard. You see, so there's an appointed message for an appointed time, and Dave is the one appointed to do it. It's done. It's over. It's over. You understand? It's done. It's over. So no, the mission's not is not going to be abandoned. God didn't say, "You want to know what? I gave them a covenant, but they couldn't keep it, so I'm going to change." No, it's not changing. It's an everlasting promise that God gave. Now here we are in the future, bringing this to fruition. So the laws are not old. The laws, the words create components of a motherboard to be understood in the age of science and technology. So that doesn't show that the words run their course of modernity and they fizzle and fade out. No, they're eternal. And this is proof here by the motherboard. So the motherboard crimps the data set yet again. The jigsaw puzzle crimps the data set. It's just this data set. Deuteronomy doesn't fit. Nothing else fits. Now you bring in the motherboard that maintains the crimped data because all components necessary for system operations are present within that motherboard. You got to understand that. All components necessary for system operations are present within the motherboard, within that data set. And power begins at the beginning of the jigsaw puzzle and power terminates at the end of the jigsaw puzzle. It's all contained within this data set. So that's important to note. So with that being said, the original pure message of Torah will be understood from only Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. Some people are saying, no, you've canceled out Judaism completely. It's like, no, the scroll goal comes into clearer definition when you root out all that other stuff. So we're only going to understand the Torah scroll from this data set. what that's going to do, it's going to remove all other forms of religion beyond the data set. That's all going to be discarded. So Christianity's gone. Good. Mormonism's gone. Good. Islam's gone. Good. It's all thrown in the garbage. Throw Christianity in the garbage. Throw Mormonism in the garbage. Throw Islam in the garbage. It's done. No, it doesn't make any sense. It's just this data set. It's a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner that has a motherboard encoded inside it. This is like really what I'm trying to push towards is this. Look at this picture. Look at how happy everyone is. Here, Deuteronomy must be removed. If anything, remove Deuteronomy from the back of the Torah scroll. Someone literally wrote the book of Deuteronomy and attached it to the back end of the Torah scroll. It must be removed. Look at how happy these people are. That here, Deuteronomy is a forgery. It's blasphemy. I'm telling you. It's a Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. It's a jigsaw puzzle. Deuteronomy was not written to attach. It wasn't written in puzzle piece form. It doesn't attach to it. And even if it did, there's no reason to have a separate circuit board underneath the motherboard. Power is generated at the beginning of the motherboard, and power terminates at the end of the motherboard, or the beginning of the jigsaw puzzle and at the end. There's no reason to move the power into another circuit board. And the components necessary to move the power into Deuteronomy are missing, because I checked. Not to get into deep detail on that. It's missing a double father power relay with a 3-part header. Deuteronomy doesn't have it. So it's all bogus. You got to understand, we must remove Deuteronomy. It is blasphemy. Deuteronomy was not written as puzzle pieces. Removing Deuteronomy simplifies the scroll goal. So I want you to look at this picture here. Look at how happy everyone is. Because in the banner data set, in the jigsaw puzzle, 5 times there's one law for the native and the stranger. For blood, here, blood and not blood. So the Middle East can be part of it. Everyone can be part of the Torah, the banner data set. It's for everyone. So we see these people up here, they're super happy, they're laughing. This man over here, he's raising the Torah scroll. The guy next to him's got the jigsaw, he's got the motherboard. They're happy, they're partying. Look at the guy next to the guy with the scroll. He's dancing. Everyone's super happy that they could be part of and take in the brilliance and ingenuity of God. Writing a document that's a jigsaw puzzle that has got a motherboard encoded inside it, that they could be part of it, that they're super happy, they're super stoked. So that's what I'm saying right here. It's so important. We have to remove Deuteronomy from the scroll. I'm telling you, I'm informing you, and I am warning you, that has got to come off. They could not tamper with the first, if you want to call it the first 4 books, they could not tamper with it. So like, hey, let's write something that attaches to the back end. Let's attach to the back end. We cannot mess with the first 4 books. Let's write this bogus scroll and attach it to the back end of it. That's what they did. I'm telling you, that's what they did. So we need to come to that understanding and remove it now. That's an order. When Deuteronomy is removed, the purpose of Judaism, or the goal of the scroll goal, the promise, becomes simplified. Watch my video, The Promise, for in-depth explanation. I have a video that goes into great detail about what I'm talking here. So I definitely do want to reiterate the promise that God made and how that's going to interplay with everything that we've talked about up until this point. So I'm showing a path here of following the laws. Follow the laws. It'll go top is yes, you're following the laws. Bottom, no, if you're not following the laws. So the promise that God makes, God says, if you follow all my laws, I will set up the tabernacle and be God unto you. So there you go. Going down that positive yes path will lead us to the tabernacle. God's going to set it up. God visits the sins to the 3rd and 4th generation. God's keeping track of what we're doing. So God knows if we're following the laws or not. So what about no? So this is what God says, essentially, for the no path if we're not following the law, going down that path. If you do not follow all my laws, I will make you eat your children and stack your corpses. You will be exiled from the land, then return to the land to start the process over again. Now, this goes on for all eternity. You can, follow the laws or not. You could bring the tabernacle or not. It just goes on and on. It's an everlasting promise. So here I show corpses being stacked and them eating the flesh of their sons and daughters. They'll be exiled off the land. And then I have this infinity symbol on the track that it just keeps looping. We don't have to keep looping the negative path. We could go and be doing the positive path. We could be bringing the creator into the creation. We don't have to just keep looping the negative. So here I have Leviticus 26, 14 through 33. These are the penalties and the stages for not following the laws. For number one, paranoia, skin wounds. Number two, famine, wildfire. This is God sending if you're not following the laws. 3, God will decimate your livestock. 4, a sword will cross the land. 5, quarantine and disease. Now, when we look at 2020, we saw COVID-19 hit, quarantine and disease. So look at this. Here we've got, COVID-19. We've got them out in Israel. In the note down here, in 2020, COVID-19 was unleashed upon the world. The world was quarantined. A sign from God that Israel is not following the laws. We saw that happen in 2020. So let's look on the path here. Boom. No, we're going down that path. They were hit with they were quarantined, hit with disease. So what happens next? Number 6 shows hostages. 2023, we had October 7th. So here I show on the bottom, October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel. Israel was delivered into the hand of the enemy. Hostages were taken. This is a sign from God that Israel is not following the laws. Remember this up here, this picture of this poor girl that was taken hostage by Hamas? And then down over here, it shows all the pictures of the people that were kidnapped during when that happened on October 7th. Many people were taken hostage, say over 200. So hostages were taken. So that happened. It's processing. So on the path, after quarantine, we see hostages. We're making our way down the path. So what comes happen? What happens next? Number 7, high inflation. Yep, 2026. This is where we're at. We are here. High inflation. Let's look at these two graphs. At the top, we see inflated housing costs. So actually at the bottom, it's a 36-year graph showing high inflation. So back in 1990, this is the National Home Price Index. Back in 1990, it shows a house going for about 40,000 is now ranging at almost 340,000. And I know houses that were going for 40,000 are almost $500,000. I know this graph is true, that the housing market is wildly inflated. What about at the bottom? This is inflated grocery costs. This is the CPI, the Consumer Price Index for food and beverages. We see it's basically at about 130 back in 1990, and we're pushing it about 340 here in 2026. So it's about almost tripled. So yeah, everything's inflated. Okay, everything's inflated. So here, for hostages, what comes next? Inflation. And that happened. Now, imagine I'm trying to tell you this, saying, look, the Torah scroll is true. The Torah scroll is still processing. It's still operational when it comes to Leviticus 26. It's true. It's happening in order on top of it. So imagine I said, hey, look, there was COVID. We were quarantined. And then there was hostages for October 7th. And then inflation. But it's like, nah, imagine that we're sitting at a time and place where there's no inflation. It's like kind of like back in the 1980s or so. It's like, no, we got no problems with money. Like you're trying to sell us that this scroll is real. Like there's no inflation. Like you're just making stuff up. It's like, no, it's the worst it's ever been in human history that we know of. At least here in America, we've seen it move in order. Disease, hostages, inflation. It's all the Torah scroll, it's still processing. It's not old. It's happening one after another. So what's next? Here, number 8, eat flesh of children, cast corpses on idols. This is next. This is next in the order. I'm showing you. I'm informing you. I'm showing you one after another. This is next. Okay. So look at this image. This is what's coming. Here's a close-up of what I was showing you earlier. We got the man eating the flesh of his sons and daughters. He's got tears in his eyes. He don't want to do it. Something's happening. Over here, this statue, we see justice for all people being cast on these statues. Over across, there's the obelisk. They're being cast on those pillars. Right here, this high places are being destroyed. Boom! We see missiles, rockets. We don't know what it is. Pyromania blasting at the top of this building. We see these space invaders dumping corpses on top of the Capitol building over there. There's an idol on top of it, top of that dome. It's like an alien invasion. Again, I know it doesn't say that in the Torah scroll that God's going to send aliens to clean up the mess, or angels, excuse me, angels to clean up the mess. Because we know those angels went into Sodom, pulled Lot and his family out. The townsmen wanted to have relations with them, and boom, the angels hit them with blindness. They're like, oh, those people that came in were great enemies of us, and they'd have, for all you know, they had issues from then on out before they were destroyed in the town, right? So these angels coming in and doing things to you, be like, oh no, they were our enemy. It's like, no, they weren't. They're doing God's work. So this is what's coming next. I don't know. It could be something different. I wasn't told to worry about it. I was told to follow the law. I wasn't told to come up with an image and what could possibly happen. But we know those angels are there, and if they're sent in, they're going to do what they're told to do, and this could definitely happen. So, boom, that's what's next. Eat kids, stack corpses. I don't know how long it's going to take. Whoever's left, don't know how God's going to divide them up. They're going to be exiled from the land. They'll repent for the sins of their fathers, and they'll go back into the land to start this process over again. So here's a note. Oh, there's hope. This hasn't happened yet. We still have time to fix things. Eating the flesh of your sons and daughters hasn't happened yet. Corpses haven't been stacked yet. No, that hasn't happened. Okay, so let's talk about this. I want you to look at this image. Bam. You see that? Let me take you back. Bam. Look at this. Jump the track. Let's start following the laws. We can jump the track. It hasn't happened yet. We're right there with it. It's about ready to, we're at the precipice of it happening. It's about ready to pop off. No, it hasn't happened yet. We've got time. We're going to jump the track. We still have time to start following those laws. God's sending those signs. Quarantine, hostages, inflation, those are signs to follow the law. Now you've got every reason on the planet to follow the law. So wait a second. It's a jigsaw puzzle. It's a banner. There's a motherboard encoded inside it. Like, oh, all the amazing of technologies that God's going to share with us, all the amazing things. Wait, we want God to get the smell. Like, we had no clue what was going on. We didn't know there was one law for the native and the stranger. There's so many things. We thought we couldn't follow it. We thought we had to have a Jewish mommy when it doesn't say that. No, everyone can follow these laws. That's why I'm doing my best to try and get this message out. We still have time to jump the track, to following the laws, and then bam, we move into it. Following the laws, and God's going to set up that tabernacle. God's going to get the smell. We're doing it for the pleasing aroma. Yeah, we're avoiding the sins of the fathers, but we want to bring God into the creation so that God can be God unto us. God get that smell. Okay? So we're not home yet. When that happens, we will bring up unintentional sin offerings and then move on with life in a whole new amazing dimension. Because some people say, I was doing wrong. I've done bad things. Like, hold on, just follow these laws. All I can tell you, follow these laws, then just say, I'm going to bring up an unintentional sin offering. I didn't know I was doing wrong. I had no clue. I thought I had to be Christian. I thought I had to be Mormon. I thought I had to be Muslim. No, you don't. Everyone can follow these laws, and that's the thing about it. You can bring up those unintentional sin offerings, and then move on with life in a whole new amazing dimension. You say, what dimension, Dave? Remember, the motherboard is a message that God has technology. This new dimension I was talking about earlier, the quantum power drive, the anti-gravity device, the force field technology. Remember that revolutionary hydroponic garden with the light from creation and those new seed varieties. That's the thing. Some people are like, I just want that cabinet. That's all I want. you know, New technologies that will catapult humanity millions of years into the future. That's what I'm talking here. We're going to move on to this happening, but we will still be following the laws. I'm telling you, this is it. This is it. We're right there with it. Now, this is the thing. How do we make this happen? How do we get all this amazing technology? Where are we at? Where are we sitting? Dave, you built up this thing with all these sun gods and sun rays, and North Korea is bowing. We got all these problems. We're at the end. What do we need to do? Follow the laws of God to experience this technology. We need to follow the laws of God. That's what we need to do. So let's get some people together here. We got four people here. We got Donald Trump, we got Benjamin Netanyahu, we got Kim Jong-un, and we got Robert Prevost, the Pope. Let's start off with Donald Trump. Donald Trump, get with me now. That's in red, now. So we can amend the United States Constitution. Islam, Mormonism, Christianity, false Judaism needs to stop. The Torah scroll is a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner with a motherboard encoded inside it. The data set is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers. Help me bring God into the creation. We need to amend the Constitution. It's just that data set. That's it. We need to amend the Constitution. We're going to stop Islam in its tracks. Stop Mormonism in its tracks. Stop Islam in its tracks. Stop the whole thing in its tracks. I have the logic to make that maneuver. All right, Benjamin Netanyahu, get with me now so we can bring Torah law to Israel. Leviticus 26 has processed to the point of them eating their children, having their corpses stacked, and their high places destroyed, and them exiled off the land. Israel is waiting for the king. Here I am. Let's go. Help me bring God into the creation. This is it. This is the thing. The land was set aside for the children of Israel to go in and out of. Not America, not Russia, not Australia, over there. We have to follow the laws over there definitely to bring God into the creation, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And for some reason, there's a glitch. They're waiting for the king to take the secular law into religious. It's like, no, we're waiting for the Messiah to do this. So you got to understand, as I said, Leviticus 26 has processed to the point of them eating their children, having their corpses stacked and their high places destroyed, and them exiled off the land. We can't wait any longer. I have to get over there and change these laws from secular to religious. You guys are waiting for the king. I'm the king. I got the banner. I got the jigsaw puzzle. I got the motherboard. It's go time. And Numbers 24, verse 17 says, a star will issue forth. I've got the star also. Get with me now. If not, they're gonna eat their children, have their corpses stacked. It's going to be a nightmare. So please get with me. So Kim Jong-un, get with me now so we can remove those statues. No one wants to see God do anything bad over there. So here's some Bible verses. Love your fellow as you love yourself. That's Leviticus 19, verse 18. Love the stranger as you love yourself. That's Leviticus 19:34. So love those you know and love those you don't know. So everyone's got love for everyone. No one's got any hate anywhere. So we don't want to see nothing bad happen over there. So get with me. Help me bring God into the creation. We're going to take down those statues and we're going to love God and follow the law, and it's going to be great. All right. Now, Robert Prevost, I'm the king, not JC. I am. I solved the Torah scroll jigsaw puzzle. I have the banner. I have the motherboard. Get with me now so we can destroy those statues, idols, obelisks, and end the false religion of the New Testament. It's false. Help me bring God into the creation. There is no New Testament. There is no new covenant. There is no new promise. Watch my video, The Promise. It's an everlasting promise God made to be God unto us. We follow the laws. We bring God into the creation. If not, God's going to make us eat our children and stack corpses. We're right there with it. So the Vatican is littered, covered with statues. If anything, we could try and turn this, make it a blessing in disguise, where somehow all that stuff was removed out of Egypt so we can destroy it. We had to get it out of there, so it's in our hands so we can destroy it. You got to know the Second Commandment says, do not make anything that God made in the heavens above, on the earth, or in the water below. And you guys got it over there. So we need to remove those statues. We need to start cleaning things up. Okay? So I have a note down here. The promise is not old. I have shown you the process that God has defined in the banner is still processing. It's still processing. All negative signs have been sent. We need to make changes now. Look, quarantine, disease, we saw it. Hostages, it happened. High inflation, it happened. This is ready to go off. You hear me? This is ready to go off. So it's just say we got till 2029. Because look at the date. 2020, 2023, 2026. Maybe we got till 2029. Yeah, maybe every 3 years. Like, no, it's ready to go off now. We need to start making changes right now. It's no coincidence that I'm here. It's no coincidence that God allowed me to solve the jigsaw puzzle. It's no coincidence I've got the banner. It's no coincidence I got the motherboard. It's go time. It's show time. So we need to start making changes now. Now look, 9, 10, and 11. Exile from the land, repent, then sent back into land to start process over again. How long is that going to take? Here's a note. The process could take 100 years before the Israelis are sent back into the land to have another chance for God to be God unto us. We want the fruit to fix our genome and make us young again now. You will be dead in 100 years. Who knows how long it's going to take? Who knows? This could literally happen tomorrow. Imagine tomorrow, all of a sudden, boom, for some reason, they're eating their children, the corpses are being stacked. It's like, wait, what is happening in Israel? It's like this right here. Leviticus 26, verse 29 through 31 is happening. God said God would do it, and we see it processing in order. Now they're kicked off the land. God's not going to be God unto us. God is in a state of not accepting the pleasing aroma. That's horrible for everyone that's playing the game, trying our hardest to make this happen. It's like Israel, it's secular state. They need to get moved to a religious state. They need the king down there. David is the king. He has the banner. God allowed him to solve the jigsaw puzzle. He's got the stuff. Bring him in. Make him king. Turn this secular state to religious. I know what to do. Get me down there. We don't want to wait. Wait another 100 years. Like, no, it's going to happen. We're going to do it now. Why are we doing it? For the pleasing aroma. So I want to just throw this out there. Number one, will the criminals stop with their organized crime? I want you to think about this. You know, we've got mafia, we've got cartels, we've got biker gangs, we've got street gangs, we've got organized crime all throughout the board. Do you think they'll stop? Honestly, do you think they'll stop? For the pleasing aroma, I say yes. I say yes. If you're watching this video and you're part of organized crime, I want you to pick up the phone, make the call. If it's your upper boss, lower boss, or if you're the person in charge, say, hey, we're done. They say, what are you talking about? It's like, it's done, it's over. Let's say, why? Why, boss? Why? You tell them for the pleasing aroma. Go out, watch the video. I realize that I need to make a change. God wants that smell. God wants to set up that tabernacle, and we're holding the show up. That's it. We're done. For the pleasing aroma. I definitely believe it. You start with you, and that's it. You clean up your house in your employment, your work, you go clean it up over there. You're not going to be something to hold up the pleasing aroma. That's why you're doing it, for the pleasing aroma. I say, if I can do it, you can do it. I wasn't part of organized crime, but if I can do it, you can do it. Make the call, end those organizations, end the robbing, the stealing, the cheating your fellow, the bribery, the extortion, the uh, money laundering, murdering. Did I say lying? The whole thing. Bring it to an end. You can do it. I got faith in you. Will the criminals stop with their organized crime? I say yes. You see this video, you share it. Say, we got to make a change. Somehow, some way, we got to make this right. Why are we doing it? For the pleasing aroma. Number two, honestly, will the people remove their statues, pillars, and idols? I say yes. It's very simple. I want you to become like spiral eyes. Spirals, like in the cartoon, like you stand up and you go look through your house. If you were the angel looking for idols to take out in the backyard, because guess what's going to happen? They're going to they're going to round up all these kachinas, your Buddha dolls, or your Buddha statues that you're meditating to, your toys, whatever it is, your little tchotchke things, your little figurines. God said you don't make those. You don't have them. You're going to stand up, go get them, and you're going to get rid of them. You're going to be the angel that's going through the house that knows already where they're at. They knew when you bought them. God visits the sins. God knew where you placed it. You're going to go find it, and if anything, you're going to take it out in the backyard, carefully dismember it, so that you don't pass that problem on to someone else. It goes to the junkyard. Then people are like, oh, hey, I'm going to take this home. Now your problem becomes theirs. It's their fault. But no, if you can take care of these things so that it's not a problem that you pass on to someone else, just think of how God is going to look at that amazing blessing that you're trying to put an end to something that you were told not to be part of. So do I think that people will remove their statues, pillars, and idols? Yes. In a day, it could be done. You might say, Dave, I'm a hoarder. My house is messy. Take a week. Take a week to do it. I went from bow to stern, top to bottom, every room, every little thing to see, even if it was fake fruit. Like I don't want to have anything in my house that if an angel sees, that's it. It's done. I'm over. Nope, nothing in my house. You clean up your house, then you clean up your workplace. When it comes to the government, we need the Davidic order. We need the banner data set in order to start making the laws that we remove these things from the community. Can't touch them. Not going to jail. We got to get to the tip top of the organization where we look down and say, hey, wait a second, there's something going on here. We got the logic now to not be part of a bad situation happening. We know that the scroll is divine. We know what we need to do to move forward. And I can show you many other things that God's been doing with me here, that God is definitely working with us here in America. But you clean up your house, clean up your workplace. When it comes to the government, Donald Trump, get with me. We're going to clean up the government also over there. We'll take care of it at that level after the laws are passed. No one wants to go to jail. So you guys can do it. So here's another one. Will the people get their tattoos removed? You're told no tattoos. And some of these people are covered in head to toe with tattoos. I'm not taking it personally, but imagine God said no tattoos. Follow all my laws. Will the people get their tattoos removed? I say yes. Yes. Tomorrow, you're going to call up and make an appointment to start getting your tattoos removed. They're going to see it. The angels are going to go report that, videotaping what you're doing. So they're all getting their tattoos removed. Why? For the pleasing aroma. That's why. They can do it. Now, this is a thing that costs money. That's what I'm telling the government. Let's do this. Let's buy every laser that we can and offer free tattoo removal service across the board. Across the board, all states, like we're offering free tattoo removal services. You can write their name down, keep track of the people. Not they just got their tattoo removed, they get another one put on, and oh, you get another one. Like no, 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 no. We don't want the tattoos to be in the way of God getting that smell. Like God's not setting up the tabernacle God's creation is full of tattoos. They're covered from head to toe. If they knew that they could get those tattoos removed for free, they would do it. So let's set some money aside. Let's buy every laser that we can, and let's offer free tattoo removal service so that we can get God into this creation, so that God will be God unto us. God will get that smell, will avoid the sins of the fathers, be able to bring up our unintentional sin offerings, and we could look into getting those technologies I was telling you about. So will the people get their tattoos removed? I say yes, but we got to offer a service because that's going to be pretty costly. Uh, Number 4, will the people stop eating pork and shellfish? I say yes. You guys don't need to be eating lobster and shrimp. You don't need to do that. Now, I understand when it comes to sausage, pepperoni pizza, get a cheese pizza. But one of the best ideas that I come across, it wasn't my idea, but Pizza Hut. Get yourself a deep dish, extra cheese if you want it, but get a ground beef. Ground beef. The ground beef is spicy and it'll take the edge off. That's what I did when I stopped eating pork and shellfish, or stopped eating pork over 26 years, about 26 years ago. Is that I came across the Pizza Hut ground beef pizza that took the edge off. You don't need pepperoni. You don't need sausage. You can do it. Trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. You don't need bacon and eggs. Get turkey bacon, get turkey sausage. You can do it. Get Hebrew National hot dog. You don't need to be eating that pork. Why are you doing it? Say, I'm doing this. If someone comes in and say, why are you doing this? Say, for the pleasing aroma, that's why. I want God to get that smell. God's only going to set that tabernacle unless God won't set that tabernacle while I'm still doing what I'm doing. I got to stop eating pork and shellfish. You can't do it. Can't do it. Okay. So you can do it. Take the edge off. Get pizza with ground beef. Oh, wait a second. You can mix milk and meat. God said, don't cook a kid in the milk of its mother. Just don't cook it in the milk of its mother. God never said anything about even eating it. You could cook that kid in some other mother's milk, just not its mother's milk. You can mix milk and meat. Go get yourself a pizza with ground beef from Pizza Hut. That's what I did. You can do it. So here, this one number here, 5. This, I can't say this is, I wouldn't say the biggest one, but will the people convert to the banner data set? I say yes. It's just Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. That's it. It's a jigsaw puzzle. It's a literal jigsaw puzzle. We need to sit down and look at it. Every connection. Say, wait, it's just this. It's just Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. Yeah, that's the banner data set. That's it. It's a jigsaw puzzle that creates a banner. Then we'll go into the next level. I'll show you how it's a motherboard. Say, whoa, God's got technology. It's like, yeah, this is what we need to do. What's the point of the religion? What's the point of it's not Judaism, but what's the point of this scroll? What's the goal? Is that we follow these laws and God's going to come into the creation. It's literally how do we summon the creator, summon the master, conjure the creator. That's the point of this scroll, to bring God into the creation. God's given us that power. I want you to realize, actualize, and activate that power. Didn't realize you had it. It's like, that's just for the Jews. Avoid the sins of the fathers. Go following these laws so that I see kindness from God. I don't know if there's some technicality where we can bring God into the creation and here into America. Go, we realize that. We understand it. We understand that the land was set aside for the Israelians. They're going in and out of that land. I get it. But will they convert to the banner data set? I say yes. So there's a lot of money that's being made here with Deuteronomy attached to the scroll. There's a lot of money being made in Christianity. There's a ton of money being made in Catholicism and Mormonism, Jehovah's Witness, Presbyterian, Methodist, Quaker, Amish. You got your Pentecostals. They're all making a ton of money. And then you sit here and watch this video and say, hey, wait a second. All the signs of Leviticus 26 have been sent. You're circumcised. You're under that promise. It's a sign that God's to be God unto you. You need to make changes. I'm here to help. I want to help. So will the people convert to the banner data set? I say yes. I say yes. Here's the big time note down here. If I can do it, you can do it. So this is a huge pep talk because we're going to look here at these things. Say, Dave, the criminals aren't going to stop with their organized crime. No way. They're not going to remove their statues and pillars. No, they're not going to get their tattoos removed. They're going to get more. They're going to continue to eat pork and shellfish, and they're not going to convert to anything. They're not even reading the book for starters. None of this is going to happen. None of this is going to happen. I say yes. I say yes. I have faith in you. I know you can do it because if I could do it, you can do it. Right? You're going to have to sit down and actually research your religion to understand the amazing power that God's given you to conjure the creator, to summon the master. That's why you're here. That's one thing, but to avoid the sins of the fathers, seek kindness from God. 15 times God said, follow my laws. God says, if you follow my laws, I'm going to show you kindness. Right? See, if anything, okay, well, that's just from the sins of the fathers. But Leviticus 26, verse 3, God says, if you follow my laws, my commandments, and able to perform them, da 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 da, I will I'll set up the tabernacle. I won't reject you. I'll walk amongst you. I'll be God unto you, and you people unto me. That's what it's all about. That's what we want. So you got that power. That's why we're doing it. For the pleasing aroma. Leviticus 25, verse 55, God said, the children of Israel are my servants. It's not up to us. We're God's servants. We want God to get that smell. We're going to follow those laws. So you can do it. So mark my words. Here, we got the statues. We got the corpses just piled high. I've done my best in this video to try and get you guys excited, inspired, motivated, and empowered to follow those laws and to realize that the stage has been set. Our forefathers set up those statues. They set up those obelisks. They went to great length to pull that obelisk out of Egypt and take it to New York. We actually look into the research on them moving that obelisk. No, that stuff all needs to get removed. The stage has been set for global catastrophe. Mark my words, this is what's going to happen if changes aren't made. The second commandment has been broken on a global level. That is literally above God's name. Like putting something on God's name. You don't do that. So imagine the second commandment. Like you don't make statues. I'm going to go ahead and do them. They did it in the past. They got away with it. No. God lets those sins build up. God lets them build up. So you don't want this happening. The second commandment has been broken on a global level. Drop zones for corpses have been established. World leaders, get down here and talk to me now. Look at this. Look at this. This is huge. Oh, sit there and roll your eyes. Like, oh, it's not going to happen. It didn't happen in the past. It's not going to happen in the future. It's like, we're not in Kansas anymore. David Valentine has the jigsaw puzzle. David Valentine has the banner. David Valentine has the motherboard. He is literally dropping nuclear bombs here, like on a religious level. You need to get down and talk with him. He's saying that this is going to happen. I showed you in Leviticus 26, it's processing down. This is coming. Okay? Get down here and talk to me now. If you don't follow my orders, destruction will happen. It's not I'm giving a prophecy. It's literally right there in the Torah scroll. God says this is going to happen. We need to make changes. I know what we need to do. You need to listen to me. So this video will be a testimony. The promise given in Leviticus is still operational. Say, wait, boom, this happened. Bam. Okay. What was this? What happened? There's no New Testament. I told you there was no New Testament. This is the promise. It's not old. It processes for all eternity. And bam, it happened. Now, I don't know how long we have to wait to have a chance for God to be God unto us. I have no clue. I don't know. So we don't need to see this happen. All the negative signs have been sent. This is ready to go. The Leviticus 26 is still operational. It's not an Old Testament. It's not an old promise. It's not old words. It is very alive and real. And this is going to happen. Mark my words. You better get down and talk with me. Hey, I got a picture here of Moses. All right. We got Egyptians dead on the seashore. We got the Israelis in the back. Like, what's going on? So after the children of Israel crossed through the Sea of Reeds, then the Egyptians went through and bam, God closed it in on them. Okay. So now, mentioning down here in Exodus 14:30 through 31, this is what it says. And Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. They saw them. They saw them dead on the seashore. Israel saw the great work which God did to the Egyptians, and the people feared God, and they believed in God and in his servant Moses, those three. They needed to see the dead. They needed to see the dead before they'd actually believe what's going on here. After they saw that, okay, wait, now we believe in what's going on here. So here I am, right? We've got the Statue of Liberty covered in corpses. The people on the bottom, like, oh my gosh, they're like the most craziest thing is spilled out. Like, oh, we thought this was we never thought in a million years this would happen. We have no clue what just happened. I thought that was only going to happen in Israel. It's like, no, it's the laws aren't exclusively tied to the land of Israel. They broke the second commandment outside the land. They made the golden calf. They were punished. The third commandment, the boy blasphemed God's name outside the land. He was punished. He was penalized. The fourth commandment, the man was caught gathering sticks outside the land on the Sabbath. He was punished. The laws were never exclusively tied to the land of Israel. Now, granted, the cities of refuge are three in Israel and then three on the opposite bank of the Jordan. That's obviously tied to the land. They celebrated Passover outside the land. They celebrated in Egypt, the first one. God never said outside the land is safe zone. God never did. If you're circumcised and you're outside the land, you're under the promise. That's the point of circumcision. God's going to be God unto you. Which camp are you sitting in? Are you following all the laws, trying to bring the tabernacle? Or are you in the other camp, chunking down to eating the flesh of your children? This can definitely spill out into the whole planet through a technicality. I'm telling you, it can. So what's at the bottom here? This is me, like saying, hey guys, I told you this was going to happen. People are like, oh my gosh. Yep. Genesis 49, verse 10. The scepter will not depart from Judah, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet until the peaceful one arrives. And he will have the obedience of the people. He will have the obedience. Now, I got the, look, here. This generation of people do not need to see corpses stacked on top of idols. We don't need to see that. Give me your obedience now. Do what I'm telling you. Do as I say. We need to begin tearing these statues down now. So many people, they want to be the captain of the ship and steering the course of whatever's going on. God didn't give you the banner. God, you didn't solve the jigsaw puzzle. Here, I've got the motherboard. You know, I'm the king. I've got the banner. Israel is waiting for the king. Like I can't hide out any longer on this situation, gathering more, data, all the time it took for me to make all this stuff. Yeah, I was, putting all this stuff together, but Leviticus 26 is processing down. We can't wait on this. We need to begin tearing these statues down now. If there's no statues, they can't pull that maneuver. If anything, at least that. And God sees us doing it. God knows that we're taking it seriously. We just didn't know. And then we start moving, and then things start happening on a positive note. It's just going to get better and better. So, give me your obedience. Do as I say. I'm not on a power trip here. I'm trying to keep you guys from eating the flesh of your sons and daughters, having your corpses stacked. I want God to get that smell. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely like to see those technologies also. So, with that being said, mark my words. I'm making this video. I've shown you, that there's issues. We got issues here. The Catholic Church has rewritten the Ten Commandments. No, statues are okay. No, they're not. God literally does not want those. Your corpses will be stacked on top of them. So it's not just the Catholic Church, they're all throughout the planet. And I understand that. So Dave's just picking on the Catholic Church. No. The Catholic Church has removed the Second Commandment. People probably aren't even aware of it. Through this video, they'll know now. Okay. So we need to remove those statues. We need to tear down that religion completely. They don't know what a sun. They don't know the Statue of Liberty is a copy of a sun god. They don't know that the obelisks are sun rays. They don't know all of this just idolatry that's literally sitting around them that will literally be used for drop zones for their corpses. They're not aware of Leviticus 26, verse 29 through 31. They're not aware of Leviticus 26 at all, that these things have processed in order. Now I'm saying this is what's coming next. Mark my words. The Torah scroll is real. The Old Testament is not old. Leviticus 26 is processing. We are at the point of them eating the flesh of their sons and daughters, having their corpses stacked on top of their idols, having their high places destroyed, and them kicked off the land. We're literally right there. So you can't ignore me on this. Mark my words, you do. This is what's coming next. You're going to eat the flesh of your children, have your corpses stacked. That is according to the Bible. It's not something I'm making up. Okay, I can take you right to the words. You could look down and see it. We need to turn Israel from a secular state to a religious state. And I know you guys are waiting for the king. Say the Messiah is supposed to do this. Nowhere in Leviticus 26 does it ever say to wait for a Messiah to turn you from a secular state to a religious state. You guys need to be doing it. We need to be doing it. So, but with that being said, they're under that impression. But we see David's got the banner. We see he's got the jigsaw puzzle, the data set's being truncated down. This is our guy. This is our man. Numbers 24, verse 17 does talk about a star coming forth. He's the king. There's a lot, obviously, there's many components, many pieces to this clockwork that are moving, but just mark my words. This is going to happen. Corpses are going to be stacked unless we get moving. So with that being said, I know I'm repeating the same thing over and over, but this is highly important for you to understand that we are at the precipice of the end of a cycle that we don't need to see happen. We still have time to make it right. So here's the book, Torah Puzzle Motherboard. If you're interested, I'm building the jigsaw puzzle, at least having that, and to see how that comes together. I go into detail on components of the motherboard, but if not, that's fine. You can go to www.torahpuzzle.com to see more information I have there. And I hope that this video has been informative, that you learned a little bit, and if anything, got you excited for the technologies that God has, that God will share with us. And for you to understand our position within the cycle of Leviticus 26. Israel's not following the laws. They're not celebrating Passover properly. It's a secular state. It needs to be turned to religious. And I'm ready and willing to do whatever it takes to turn that state from a secular state to a religious state and have God's presence amongst us. So I'm looking forward to speaking with world leaders, state leaders, local officials, and anyone who wants to talk about this situation. We have time to talk, but I want to say every day the sands of the hourglass are dwindling down. We can't wait on this. So get with me now while we still have a chance. I thank you for watching this video.